I'm trying to now head towards the M25, towards the vicinity of KwaZulu and Inanda. That's where we'd also received some reports of structural collapses as well as damage to roads in that area. There was a lot of flooding, severe flooding around those areas today. I mean, while we were driving around last night, we saw cars that had been submerged. There were people that were parked on the side of the road, their vehicles and belongings out, taxis as well that had been stuck there for hours. You know, the part of the problem was that many people that had gone to work during the day then realized that they were unable to get back at night. We passed by people that were waiting for taxis that were in some cases never going to come because they were just going to, the taxis were unable to get to them in some cases. So they were waiting to get home from work, but unfortunately it's unclear what would have happened to them or where they would have gone back to. That's how badly affected just the average person was. So the north, further north, being affected as much as the western areas. We heard reports then from Westville, from Ponela. A sad story coming out of Ponela today where 3 people, a mother and her 2 daughters, were struck when their house collapsed and they ended up under rubble. It was presumed that they had passed away. It was only the father that had survived that. As I mentioned, those were some of the sporadic incidents which showed you how widespread this damage that came from the Durban floods was. You'd also be noticing while I'm flying over now that there are most of these roads have some form of sand on it or interruption of traffic flow like this one there. That's because of the mudslides from the banks nearby. So those, yesterday we found when we were driving in the dark, became quite dangerous. There were many near accidents last night as people suddenly braked and tried to avoid them. Now it's really severely slowing down travel times. It's you'll see there some taxis trying to navigate over a spot on the road. The vehicles also trying to follow through. This is going to take a very long time. The city acknowledging that they are going to have a lot of work and certainly going to spend a lot of money to try and rebuild this infrastructure. It's not even a year after all of the damage that we saw last year during the July unrest. Coincidentally, this is what we were doing at that time as well, and showing you a very different type of damage. And now the residents of Durban and eThekwini here are dealing with devastation once more. People are dealing with infrastructure that is broken, with property damage. Look at this on the road here, right? At the center of the road, you have a huge chunk of the bank on the side that has come off and fallen at the center. It's now obstructing both lanes, one going to up and one going down. And now there are some people that are working there trying to remove that. So hopefully that will be sorted out soon.
Yeah, and as you said, the city trying to recover from last July's riots in terms of infrastructure damage, and there's more rain still on the way. Dasen, I understand from the forecasters, but and people are praying for the rain to go away now, because we've seen the last over 24 hours how much damage has already been done.
You know that this weekend, I mean, exactly, this weekend, the Easter weekend, would have been a time where many people would have flocked to the city. That's when we would have been expecting tourism boost. We would have been expecting visitors to come in. But all of that now is going to be secondary, because right now the priority is trying to fix the city, trying to find the people that are missing, trying to make sure that homes are secure before that second batch of rain. Look at this below, and I want to call your attention to the location of this informal settlement below me now. And you see the body of water that is running there. That is what many of these homes at risk. It's also what, if you were to ask the municipality what they warn against, and that's what has been a constant battle in the city, and I imagine in other cities in South Africa as well, is that the land that is occupied like this is not always ideal land. You sometimes find floodplains that are being built on land that was ignored by the city for obvious reasons. But out of a desperation for housing, you have settlements like this popping up. But it's the same communities here that end up ending up at risk. That's where you have reports of people being washed away because of the proximity to that water. And that is something that authorities are also struggling with and struggling to get right, because it is a city with a huge housing backlog. If these people are moved, they don't necessarily have houses yet to be placed into.
Yeah, I'm not sure what direction you're going now, Dasen, but just a while ago, I just spoke to Lethiwe Mdluli, our colleague. She was near Umlazi, and there was another road there, a mini bridge there, and some sewage pipes, which you can see have been damaged very badly by these heavy storms and the flooding that we are seeing now in parts of KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah, there are so many. I think at this point, it's hard to even put a number to how many households have been affected. What's more worrying is where these people are going to go. It seems like previous instances of flooding. Remember, we've had a few over the past few years. We've had a few times that people have been. They were placed in temporary shelter. They were placed in temporary housing, and that was meant to assist while their permanent homes were being built. But in some cases, the city has not recovered from that. Those people have not recovered from that. Some people have not rebuilt homes. Some people have not managed to get back all of their belongings, and then they find themselves in this type of situation again. To answer your first question, Braden, we're moving in the direction of Ohlange now.
Okay. Now, we understand schooling has been affected badly. Our colleague, Masigo Rahlaga earlier, Dasen, speaking to the MEC for Education in KZN. And a short while ago, I spoke to the Provincial Secretary of SATU in KZN. And the situation is not looking good in large parts of KwaZulu-Natal. And I think I would assume that in and around Durban as well, schooling will be affected today.
Definitely the case. In fact, the initial memo that was coming out from the department was talking about a discretionary leave. So as a parent or a guardian, you made the decision about whether you wanted to keep your child at home today, and later on it was advised that in fact you do keep your child at home today. It was not safe. So many of the schools having schooling disrupted. There was not a child that could have safely went to school, or a parent that would have sent their child to school in these areas, particularly knowing what had happened. Braden, let me also now call your attention to what you're seeing below me here. This is another mudslide. Again, look at where some of these roofs are. Like those metallic roofs, they've come off the houses. Some of these houses are buried. This is one of many mudslides that we've seen in the area, and in some cases people are not accounted for. So families are unsure if their loved ones had escaped, if they still happen to be whether they are still submerged. It's mostly in hilly terrain like this that we are seeing this, and now it's up to those family members, for example, to try to locate their loved ones, because at the same time, while there are people that are genuinely missing, there were also a few false reports that rescue personnel and disaster management teams were working with. It always happens. There's a sense of panic when you can't find a family member. Then you immediately try to get help. You try to report it and say that a person is missing, but sometimes they are not then reported as being found or being located by those families. These types of rescues yesterday took up a lot of time for personnel. Here, in fact, in the north, not far from where I am, there was a number of people that were left stranded, that were in a temple. There were about 12 people yesterday that we saw in a temple that had made their way all the way up to a roof because they just could not get out. Let me point out once again how these mudslides are affecting the area that we are in now. A portion of that house has broken off on the left. That is a family home where most of the left-hand side, the slab is even broken. On the left side, in fact, it's standing on almost nothing. I imagine that it's quite dangerous for them to be there now, but despite that, there is still a vehicle there, probably a recovery happening down there. Remember, many people now taking advantage of the somewhat drier weather, the little reprieve that we have to gather belongings where they can, anything that they can salvage. Many people having lost everything, but others using this opportunity now to go back to these places and try and get what they could not take previously. I mean, this is absolutely shocking. Look at that. To think that that was someone's home just a short while ago, and now it looks like that. Now an entire portion of it is completely gone. You'll see more of that around the region that I'm in now. A lot of mud, a lot of debris, lots of houses damaged here. I see an excavator down there trying to assist, trying to clear this road, but it's going to take a lot of work to ensure that any car can go past here, and that any of these houses here or the areas around them are actually then dug up and where people can pass through.
Yeah, we can see that damage, and it's very risky as people go back in to try and salvage whatever that they need to take out of their damaged homes. Dasen, we will come back to you. Just you stay connected. I just want to go back to the ground now. Lethiwe Mdluli is on the ground, of course, with KwaZulu-Natal counting the death toll as the heavy rains there are showing no signs of letting up. But currently, where Dasen is in parts of Durban, northern part of Durban, there's a bit of a reprieve, but more rain is expected. We understand that over 40 people have been reported missing and I mean dead, and many others are said to be still missing. In Umlazi, near the old airport, people have started looking for storage containers there, and that's where we'll find Lethiwe Mdluli, just to give us give us an update about what's happening there. Lethiwe, good afternoon. What can you tell us about what's going on where you are?
Well, Braden, at the moment, I'm actually near the old airport. I'm in Umlazi. What is currently happening now is that the company that is next to the old airport, people are looting that company. As you can see from your visual, I unfortunately can't get close, but they have started swimming in the water and entering this company. They are looting television sets and also refrigerators. Currently, there's a young man, I'm trying to zoom in, who's carrying what looks like a fridge from what I can see. As you can see, these containers have open damage. They, of course, come from the port of Durban, and they're being housed here near the old airport. This is currently what is happening right now. And, of course, this used to be a road. It's the road that actually connects Umlazi township with the rest of Durban. This is the exit point and also the main entry point to the township. Many people will not be able to get around and go to the CBD and go to work because of this. The roads have been washed away, and unfortunately, today we woke up to the main entrance in this township being closed off because of the heavy downpours. But now looting has taken place because this company, currently there's no one in here. The police are unable to even get here because they are overstretched. A lot of areas around the city, of course, look like this. I'm hoping that you can see clearly what is currently happening. People are carrying chairs out of the company, and also they have been able to take some TVs from there.
So are you saying that people are raiding that store, that warehouse, and what we saw now a short while ago as you were zooming on your phone there, Lethiwe, was a fridge being floated and taken away by the group of young people that we can see from a distance? Okay, we don't seem to have Lethiwe, but we're getting a sense of what's happening there in one part near Umlazi. People raiding a warehouse and seemingly stealing some goods from there, including a fridge that we saw being floated on the water.